All right, so I definitely didn't think I would be making another GeForce Now loses games video, especially so soon. But I think it'll be the second one this week. But regardless, here we are. So let's get into it. We'll try to go through the article pretty quick. I have been ranting on about this in previous videos on the channel since publishers have been pulling games since GeForce Now came out of beta. So I'll try to keep it down a little bit in this one, and we'll just get through the article. But I just want to give my opinion along the way, and feel free to do the same in that comment section below, and let me know what you think about all these games that keep leaving GeForce Now, and is it going to start affecting the service. So let's get into this here. 2K Games pulls out of GeForce Now, latest major publisher to remove games from streaming service. For Nvidia's GeForce Now, the hits keep on coming, or rather going. 2K Games' library is the latest tranche of AAA games to leave the fledgling Steam Anywhere service. Nvidia announced 2K Games' departure effective immediately, earlier on Friday afternoon. We were working with 2K Games to re-enable their games in the future, said the company. The loss of games such as Borderlands 3, Civilization 6, 3 NBA 2K titles follows the very visible departure of Activision Blizzard and Bethesda Softworks in February, and also this week was Hinterland Studio with The Long Dark that pulled out of GeForce Now. This took about 24 high-profile games off the PC gaming service. Games from publishers such as Capcom, Rockstar Games, and Square Enix have also left GeForce Now despite being available during a beta period that ended in early February. Now, those ones that left weren't so much in the news because as soon as it left beta, they just weren't there. They didn't necessarily get pulled. It didn't really launch with those games from those companies there. So people that had been playing GeForce Now in beta probably noticed, but people that had never messed with it and didn't even really realize what it was till it came out officially on February 4th, didn't even realize those games were gone to begin with. But the Activision Blizzard, the Bethesda, and the Hinterland Studios are all publishers that have pulled their games since launch. So, reached by Polygon, an Nvidia representative referred readers back to a February 20th blog post acknowledging publishers' control over the service's content while asserting that, quote, they will bring games back as they continue to realize GeForce Now's value. So I'm a little concerned about that, because it's kind of like maybe they're pulling the games because they realize GeForce Now's value. I realize there's all kinds of licensing agreements and caveats when it comes to this cloud streaming, but GeForce Now being more of a service and not a platform, which I've talked about in previous videos, and the fact that you're signing into your account, albeit in the cloud, and you're installing a game, albeit instantly, so it was probably kind of pre-installed, which I realize could be causing an issue. You're still basically running the game you paid for the proper way through the launcher. You're not bypassing anything. You're not pirating anything. There's nothing for free going on. You must own the games and whatnot. So, you know, it just you're basically just playing your game on another PC, and that's what I've been touting. That's what I've been talking about. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers agreeing and saying the same thing, that this is really a greedy move by companies who want to work out a deal to get paid by Nvidia to be on the service, or maybe they have plans to come up with a service of their own, which is what happened with television and fragmented everything. Fragmented all of the content. So who knows what's really going on here? Will the companies realize the value and come back, or are they leaving because they realize the value of the service, or what? So let's continue on here. A representative for 2K Games did not return a message before a publication time. GeForce Now is a service whereby PC games may stream games from the cloud to computers, Android tablets, and smartphones, or NVIDIA Shield TV or Shield portable devices. Users may only stream games they already own on another digital platform such as Steam, Ubisoft's Uplay, or the Epic Games Store. GeForce Now had been in beta since 2015, starting with support for the company's Shield devices before including PC platforms in 2017. The service did leave beta on February 4th. Soon after Activision Blizzard asked for its games to be removed, Bloomberg attributed the takedown to the publisher's desire for a formal commercial agreement with Nvidia regarding the game's presence on GeForce Now. Translation, they want to work out a deal to get paid to allow you to play the game you already own in the cloud. The same lack of commercial agreement is believed to be behind Bethesda Softworks' removal of all but one of its supported titles from the library that numbered about 80 at launch. GeForce Now offers free 1-hour trial sessions to anyone, or a membership with unlimited game time. I thought that was a 6-hour game time, but I could be wrong, or maybe they changed it. That is free for 90 days, followed by $4.99 a month for the next 9 months. A tremendous value in GeForce Now, and it's a fantastic service, and it is a shame to keep seeing games leave the service because it's probably the best cloud gaming service out there. However, it is hard to compare to things like Stadia and xCloud because those are much more of a platform for gaming than they are a service. Something like Stadia is more like a console, even though it's in the cloud. It's a closed system. You're having to buy the games there. They're licensed to be played there. Your player base is on there, on Stadia or on xCloud or whatever the case may be, unless it's a cross-play situation, which they don't really have much of on Stadia right now. So it's not that comparable. GeForce Now is really just giving you access to things that you already own, accounts that you already have, and giving you the hardware to run those, including ray tracing, which Cyberpunk 2077 by CD Projekt Red is still slated to be on GeForce Now on launch day in September with full ray tracing. So that should be pretty awesome. And seeing how good of a company CD Projekt Red is, I'm sure they see that they could sell more copies of their game by having it on GeForce Now, not by removing it, because people who can't afford to get a graphics card or what have you to run ray tracing, maybe they're not going to get a new console to run ray tracing. This would be a way for them to experience the technology without having to invest a lot of money. So hopefully that game continues to be a launch game for GeForce Now. Earlier this week, Hinterland Studios founder Raphael said that Nvidia never asked the developers permission to include The Long Dark in GeForce Now, and as such, he had asked for it to be removed. Quote, "Please take your complaints to them, not us," is what he had said. I said in a previous video, I thought that was a pretty jerk comment to make. Devs should control where their games exist, which that statement shows he's missing the point. You do control where your game exists. It exists on Steam. It exists on Epic Store. It exists wherever GeForce Now is supported. You are controlling what platform your game exists on. GeForce Now is just giving consumers who bought your game another way to access them. Yes, there are different licensing agreements, and I realize there's all kinds of issues, but GeForce Now coming out of beta and having all this happen and all of this conversation kick up, I hope in the long run will be good for cloud gaming, but right now it's making it pretty complicated. And in my opinion, companies like 2K and Activision and Bethesda that want to pull their games and try to work out agreements with Nvidia for money, or they want to be on a different service or have their own, to me it's anti-consumer. It's not really good for the gamers, and ultimately they would sell more copies of their games and have more players if they allowed them to be on GeForce Now, especially since we're just playing the games that we bought, using the accounts that we have with those launchers. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Another hit to GeForce Now. Let's hope that this doesn't keep happening. I'm really afraid to see too many games leave GeForce Now and have Nvidia give up on it, because it really is a good service. And I think one of the reasons it's getting hit so hard is because it is such a good service. And things like Stadia are kind of lagging behind right now. xCloud's not out yet, so right now GeForce Now is kind of one of the best services out there for cloud gaming, and I would hate to see it fall because too many publishers don't realize the value of allowing their players to play their game there. All right, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you like it, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave your comment below and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot, have a good one, and I'll see you next time.